Hello, my name is Ernest Cray. I'm with the Utah Valley State College School of Continuing Education. I'd like to introduce a production today, a grant proposal to restore the Bunell Pioneer House.
Hello, I'm Helen Bunell Weeks. I am 78 years old, and I want to tell you a little bit about our Bunell Pioneer home that was built in 1892 and stands today on the grounds of Utah Valley State College.
I've been on campus for 16 years, and I've watched the campus grow around this historic home. And I remember seeing just years ago when it started to be refurbished, and we actually met there as departments and would have special meetings there. It was special and central to the department. And the history that is there just adds to the depth of the school and gives students the opportunity to recognize the roots that the school came from.
When I was a young woman, I lived with my grandmother, and she told me when they built this home, she watched the Indians bury their dead on the lower part of the farm. They danced around campfires as they prepared their dead for burial. And as children, we gathered hundreds, perhaps thousands of arrowheads in this sacred land.
Place, it's a beautiful home. The brickwork is beautiful. There's lovely stained glass, and it's a little piece of Orem history, and there's so little of that left, especially from that time period. Orem has just grown and spread, and to my understanding, it's one of the few, if not the only, historic home left from that pioneer period. So from that point of view, it's a fabulous opportunity to preserve it, to generate activity on the part of the college, students in the trades department, in the history department, public history, architecture, business. So many people could be involved and get hands-on experience. And it's also an important part of the history to preserve that. It's on the National Historic Register. Is that it?
Yeah.
So that's quite a designation. That in itself makes it, I think, a worthwhile project to pursue.
We have many memories of that beautiful home.
There is possible value in restoring the Bunell home. I think it has several ways that it could benefit our campus. One is obviously a focal point for the history and the story of where this valley came from and what people did in the early days. Second is, if you can find some function, and I know you're considering a radio station, if you can find some function that is at the hub of student activity that draws attention to it and does something metaphorical, like tie the pioneer and frontier days of the region into some new technology of the future, that would be something that caught the imagination of a lot of people. And I think that there's a third value, which is that if you can create kind of a little safe zone or a quiet spot on campus where people can spend a little time and maybe enjoy the scenery.
Well, as the archivist here at UVSC, I received a donation from Wilson Sorensen, who is the previous president of the school, and in that donation were a lot of papers and a lot of photographs and slides that showed what this property was like before the school was built, and including the Bunell house, some of the property around it, a few pictures of the actual home. Here's one as an example. The ferry home, just what the property looked like before the school was ever built. And also as the archivist, I've gotten involved in the public history task force. The history department here on campus is interested in starting a public history program, and part of that will be working in archives. Students of public history, a big career possibility for them is as archivists, and so they'll get a chance to work in the archives. They'll be working with this type of materials. hopefully they will be interested in doing research projects on this local history, perhaps on the Bunell house itself, the history of Orem, the history of the school. Those items will come back and be housed at the archives permanently.
One of the difficulties that we face at Utah Valley State College is that the students are on campus for a few hours a day. It's not like a typical residence university in which people have dormitories and they're here all the time and they are involved in the after-hours activities and the social life. A lot of our students are here because they commute from somewhere else or they have full-time jobs and they're trying to do that. So their time on campus is limited. And as a result, the students are often disconnected from other events. They have a limited way of finding out what's going on. It's not like the campus has one main gate that everybody goes through. It's a circular satellite-based arrangement. And so we come at UVSC from a number of directions. If we had something like a radio station that had contemporary information about college activities and was also interesting to people at the age that students are for entertainment or music or sporting news, then I think they would punch that one up on their car as they're coming to campus or put it onto their portable audio devices as they're walking around the campus. And it could easily become the most relevant, the most used form of communication that we have.
We're speaking today about the Bunell House, the restoration project here on campus. I think it's a great idea, and in my mind, I'd like to see it turned into a little radio station. I think radio on campus is a terrific idea.
I see the radio station benefiting the college actually in two areas. One is it's a voice. It's a voice for the school. It is a student voice as well as a voice that helps give the message of UVSC. It also gives students the opportunity to enhance their skills in radio broadcasting. And here in multimedia, we're always looking for opportunities for our very qualified and technically proficient students to do what they do best.
We're talking about the Bunell Pioneer House. And
Yes.
I understand that this department might have the expertise to put some of the trades and technology work into the project. Am I right about that?
You're right about that, yes. We were involved in the original renovation of the house when we first moved to this campus. And I've always had an interest in the Bunell House. Right, and we do have building construction programs, cabinet making programs, electrical programs, and refrigeration, air conditioning, plumbing, those kind of things. And I think that, if you got the funding to do this, they would be happy to help you.
Do you think it's a worthwhile project?
I think it's a very worthwhile project. I think it has to be on this campus. It provides, a great gap filler for the past. And students can see that. They walk by it by the hundreds every day. And I think it's really neat to have this on our campus, and I would love to keep it.
Yeah, we do cabinet work here. That's what we teach. That's what our program's all about, is residential and commercial cabinetry. If this project needs some restoration work and it will fit into our curriculum, we'd be more than happy to try to accommodate those needs.
I'm Mike Wisland. I'm an instructor here on campus in audio, and I'm also the advisor to the radio club. Currently, we are seeking to put a radio station here on campus sometime in the academic year 2005. We're looking for a place on campus that is centrally located, where the students can congregate and meet and have it as a focal point on the campus to communicate and to connect with the history of the campus, and also as a sort of a central point for communications. And the Bunell House would be an ideal spot for such a radio station.
How could it serve the community? Specifically, I'd be thinking about, once again, an NPR affiliate, something like that, something that is traditionally found on a college campus. Those stations also offer, they have political talk shows that are not just national, but local. They deal with national issues. Sometimes those audiences aren't big, but they are people that are very interested in the specifics of a geographic region. It would speak to issues right here in Utah Valley, something between Salt Lake City and, say, the edge of the county. I mean, those kinds of issues would be dealt with in depth in a radio situation here. I would think that would be a perfect fit for this valley.
And this little home is so symbolic of what it represents, more than the building itself, but for what it represents, the roots of our past, for the wings of the future for our students. Today, this pioneer house symbolizes a crossroad for UVSC students, pioneers of the 21st century. May it stand as a beacon of hope for all future generations who take pride in their pioneer heritage.
Hello, I'm Ernest Gray. I'd like to thank you for considering this grant proposal. Thank you for your time.